charge, ready for the fight. No more hearts and steadfast pride. Detroit spirit, we wear it white. Feel the drive, hear the crowds embrace. Locked on Detroit Lions will rise. With a heart full of dreams and the fire in our eyes. From the past to the future, we'll claim our own. In the home of the brave, we'll proudly have grown. In the city, where the road meets the night, the Lions charge, ready for the fight. Noble hearts and steadfast pride. Detroit spirit, we wear it white. Feel the drive, hear the crowds embrace. Rocked on Detroit Lions will rise. Rocked on Detroit Lions will rise. With a heart full of dreams and the fire in our eyes. From the past to the future, we'll claim our own. In the home of the brave, we'll proudly have grown. With every game, we rise and unite. Feeling the passion igniting the light. Through highs and lows, we'll stand as one. A legacy, a tale that's just begun. Together we roar. Together we roar. Rocked on Detroit Lions will rise. With a heart full of dreams and the fire in our eyes. From the past to the future, we'll claim our own. In the home of the brave, we'll proudly have grown. So let's lift our voices. Let's turn it up loud. For the love of the Lions, we'll always be proud.
Unbelievable win by your Detroit Lions, 26-23 over the Houston Texans in an epic showdown at NRG Stadium. Jake Bates is definitely the player of the game tonight on the offensive side of the ball. Wow. Just epic. I'm out of words. We just went from the most highs and lows and roller coaster ride throughout that game in the live stream. I wish we had more people in, but man, it was incredible to see it, to feel it. I mean, the defense completely played out of their minds tonight. A defense that I've been behind ever since we've lost Aiden Hutchinson. I've had the faith that they can get it done. And tonight you saw it again. Just how impressive they can be when they play together. Completely shut out the Texans in the second half. Big shout out to Michael Garrity getting it started with a $5 super chat donation in honor of Aaron Glenn and the defense tonight. Super shout out to you, Michael Garrity, and appreciate your donation. We're going to give you what we are missing tonight, which is a JMO TD. We didn't get a JMO TD.
Jameson makes the catch. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, number 9.
But just as epic tonight, I mean, watching Jared Goff throw 5 interceptions. You know, I'll give him 3. 2 of those, not his fault. I would say the offensive line was the issue tonight. I don't know how you guys feel, but tonight, the offensive line just got shredded. And we did some timing, you know, on a few plays. We were watching Jared Goff dial it up and throw, and he had 2.06 seconds on one release and 1.66 seconds on another release. I mean, it was snap, catch, drop, throw. Now, that was an outside screen play. We didn't get to time a whole lot when he was under pressure, but I'm going to take a wild guess tonight. And I'm going to say that Jared Goff had more pressure tonight than he's had any game this entire season. And I'm going to say that the pressure rate was probably the highest. The number of pressures was probably the highest. And his pressure time to throw was probably, well, the lowest, but you know what I mean, the worst he's ever seen. Our offensive line could not keep Jared Goff protected at all. At all. It was a huge problem tonight. Somehow they found a way. The biggest question I have for Ben Johnson is this. You know, on our last touchdown drive, he starts mixing it up. He starts calling the plays that work. Where was that the last 3 quarters? Why does it take for us to have our back up against the wall to finally call a good game? I don't get it. Ben is an absolute genius with what he does 90% of the time. But that 10% really gets us in trouble. That has to disappear in December. Has to. Cannot come back. He needs to find a little box to put it in and go hide it somewhere where it can never be found again, because that style of play calling is going to hurt us in January. More importantly, our offensive line needs to get healthy. Crazy good game. Crazy good game. I told you guys it was going to be a thriller. And for all of you that thought that this was just going to be a lay it down Texas team and we were going to run all over them, tape don't lie. And I watched plenty of Texas tape this week while I was sitting sick. I might not have been here, but I was watching tape and they impressed the hell out of me. That's why I covered them again today, you know, in the pregame show, because I saw it coming, man. This defense was going to be the best defense we played all season. And they proved it tonight. They proved it tonight. I hope the Lions learned something tonight. Fonzie, always watch till the end, never leave early. You just never know with these Detroit Lions. You just never know. All right, I'm going to pull in some stats. And as you guys know, we don't actually have all of the stats because, you know, they're not available, especially after a Sunday night game. We'll have a few, but we won't have everything. Let's see what we have. Man, I'm feeling it. I am feeling it tonight. This bronchitis is going to kick my butt all night. You watch. And I will try to bring in the post-game press conference live. We'll see if they want to screw with me tonight or not. Hopefully not. Hopefully they're too busy worrying about other stuff. All right, stats of the game. Here we go. Here's our box score. Wow, what an epic win. Jake Bates, my goodness. I mean, he literally shadowed the uprights, left and the right, tonight. Barely got that ball in. Wow. Jared Goff, worst game of the season so far. Worst game of his career, probably. Still put up 240 yards. He was 15 of 30, 50%, 50% completion percentage, 8-yard average, 2 TDs, 5 interceptions. He wasn't sacked one time. But what you're going to find out is he was on the ground probably 10 times. I think he was hit 10 times tonight. Jahmyr Gibbs, 71 yards on the night. ...71 yards, 19 carries. His lowest output of the season, 3.7 yards per carry. 20 yards was his long run of the night. Almost broke, probably, I think it was 2 or 3. Almost broke 2 or 3 tonight. David Montgomery, 12 for 32, 2.7 yards a carry and 1 TD. Jared Goff, the biggest run of his night was 2 yards. The only run of his night was 2 yards. And it was for a first down that we desperately needed. Lions put up 105 yards total on the ground. Our lowest output, I think, of the season. Or one of the lowest outputs of the season. Sam Laporta had 3 receptions, 66 yards, 22-yard average, and a TD. And he did exit the game with a shoulder injury. No updates as of yet. He was targeted 6 times. Oh, I got the yawns already. Amon-Ra St. Brown was 6 for 60, 10-yard average, 1 TD. Targeted 8 times. Jameson Williams, 3 for 53. 23 was his long, and he kind of disappeared after what basically the first quarter. Does anybody know if Jameson Williams suffered some sort of an injury tonight? Rest of the passing, Jahmyr Gibbs, 2 for 37. So he was over 100 yards all-purpose again tonight. David Montgomery, 24 yards through the air. Jody Rolfson, great statement. I remember back in the day when the Lions quit in the second half, always found a way to lose. So glad we never quit on this Lions team. You know what? And I'm so glad that this Lions team doesn't quit. There is no quit in this team. None. Brian Branch had a great game. Carlton Davis definitely getting the game ball. Phenomenal game. 2 interceptions, 2 passes defensed, 4 tackles on the night. Brian Branch, 10 tackles, 1 TFL, 2 passes defensed, 1 quarterback hit. Ali McNeil, 6 tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, and a quarterback hit. Josh Paschal, 5 tackles, 1 sack, 2 TFLs, 1 quarterback hit. Alex Anzalone, 5 tackles, 1 pass defensed. Meek Robertson, 4 tackles, 1 TFL. Terrion Arnold, 4 tackles, 1 pass defensed, in a couple of big-time plays. Pat O'Connor, 2 tackles, 1 sack, 2 TFLs. Lions had 4 sacks tonight. You know, that defense that doesn't have any defensive ends? Well, Josh Paschal was back tonight, and the Lions had their second most output on the season for sacks. And I mean, what's alarming here is all the TFLs and all the passes defensed tonight. 7 total passes defensed, 9 tackles for loss, 4 sacks. Incredible evening by your Detroit Lions defense. Aaron Glenn is defensive coordinator of the year. I don't know who else would be. He has to be. The way that he has this team playing right now, the way that this defense is finding ways to put it together and come together is incredible. All right, we got Dan Campbell at the podium. Let's get him in. All right, here we go. Oh, wait, maybe not. Hold on. There we go.
You know, credit to D'Amico and that crew, man. They fought. We knew they would, and you know, they were ready to go, and man, they gave it everything, and you know, that was a hard fought game, and you know, we had to fight our way back in there.
Let me know you guys have audio.
You know, look, I'm proud of the guys. There's things that obviously we got to clean up, but man, they just wouldn't go away. Our guys wouldn't go away. You know, and for our defense to play the way they played, you know, I thought our defense played good early. We just had one play here, one play there that really that hurt us. But second half, you come out and it's, you know, 4 punts, 2 picks, and a missed field goal. I mean, that's huge. And we talked about it at halftime. We just needed to get our takeaways. So the defense did that, and I knew we'd wake up on offense. It was just a matter of time. And once we were able to pull it within one score, you felt like, okay, now, we're starting to find our way here. And, man, our fans helped. With about 8 minutes left in the fourth, they helped. They got a false start over there on them, caused one. So, listen, our fans are huge.
Way to show up.
Traveling like they did. Anyway,
way to show up.
Proud of the guys. Big win.
And Dan just burped.
Well, look, let me start here. We did Thursday at the end of practice, we did an end-of-game situation live, offense versus defense, and we were at the minus 46 seconds left, one timeout for the win.
You're all good, Tarantino.
And so Goff hit Saint, and got it to the plus 43. And, there we are, 1 second left after the timeout, and rolled him out there, and he nailed it. And this was outside, slight wind in his face. And so, man, you could just feel the team as well as all of us. There's just a confidence and, okay, man, that was big. So it was the first thing I thought of when we got there, and I'm looking at it. I'm thinking about, you go for this, and I just felt good about it. I just felt like he was going to make it, and he did. He stepped up and nailed it. That was great. Yeah, probably. I mean, look, I had a lot of confidence in Badge, I really did. But I think probably at this point, yeah, I'd say that's a fair assessment. We're getting some pretty longer kicks here. I don't particularly like to do that all the time, but sometimes when you need it, you get in a game like that.
All right, so let's talk about that for a moment, Dan. Dude, you had 25, 30 seconds left on the clock. You had another down. You had 2 timeouts. There was no need to put Bates in there for, what was it, another 57, 58 yard or whatever it was. You could have ran the ball one more time. Maybe you got nothing. Maybe you got 3. Hopefully you didn't lose yardage. And then I'm sure that went through his head. What if we lose yardage? But yeah. I'm sure there's a lot that went into that call, and every single one of us is thinking here, what are you doing? Go get some more yards. Make it an easier shot. Well, Bates, clearly doesn't need an easier shot. He hung that thing up at the top of the uprights on both of those kicks. They were probably halfway through when it finally went through. That kick was good from 60 plus. The second one. The first one is probably good from 65, maybe. I'll have to go back and watch it again. But Bates has plenty of leg. But, man, are you taking such a huge risk by not trying to get a few extra yards? But at the same time, I guarantee you this is what Dan is probably thinking. If we run the ball right here and we lose yards, we're in trouble because we push our kicker back. If we run the ball here and we fumble it, we fumble the game. So I'm sure those two things were right there in front of his brain. Like, I know he's got the leg. Let's just end it here. And if we miss, we're going to OT. I guarantee, and I want someone to ask him that question. So if you're hearing this, one of you beat writers, ask him that question. Why? Why did he do that? And maybe he'll answer it here. I don't know.
And listen, he's answered the bell. He's answering the bell.
You talked about it in your opening remarks, but just that defensive effort and Aaron Glenn, the second half of the game that you called, how much effort you did that side of the ball, you guys shut them out.
Huge. If we don't play defense like that, we don't win that game. Because, look, we did what we had to do at the end offensively. We found our way and we're able to get in position to score some points. But without the defense, we 5 turnovers. That's hard. It's hard to win that way. And, that's really where it begins. And then we're a little off on some stuff. So defense doesn't play that way. This game, we don't have a chance to come back and win it. So I can't say enough about AG, man. We made a couple of adjustments at halftime. But we also knew, like I mentioned earlier, we were playing good ball. We just, man, it was one play here, one play there, one player here, one play. And once we kind of got rid of that stuff and kept playing the way we were playing, man, we were, and look, CD's, I know it didn't work out, but CD's interception coming out at a halftime, we talked about it, man, and it just happens like that. And so there's the guys believe, hey, we can make this happen, it's going to happen. But for our defense to have to reload again, with 3 and out or interception on offense, and they have to, man, they're off the bench on the field, and just to continue to, man, that's a credit to those guys, and AG is a huge part of that. Mm-hmm. It's good. Inches are right down the middle. I think, as far as I'm concerned, it's right down the middle. So,
I got your ads off.
I'm
Thanks
excited.
for letting me know.
I was excited. That's a hard-fought game. And
get those likes up. We'll keep the ads off.
The emotions of that type of game, and you realize when you get in that one, you're playing the long game. You got to do it one.
Jody, I got you in just a minute. I can't thank you enough for your $20 donation.
Down to the end of the game, because you're not going to be able to do it as far down as we were. You're not going to be able to do it within just a couple of possessions. So we hung in there, and for him to just step up and make those kicks, it's good, and his confidence is growing.
Last three over here, Nolan, Dave, and Eric.
Yeah, you know what, though? Here's the thing. I know this is – all right, forget the one right before halftime. That was a Hail Mary. We're just trying to get it up, hoping a prayer didn't work out. All right, so now you're down to 4. Really, only one of them was kind of, okay, I got it. The rest of those, it's just kind of a circumstance. There's some things that happen. The one to Laporta, it's a good throw. I mean, that's what we tell him to do. And, Laporta's a little late getting his head around, and then he doesn't quite get himself to the ball and all, But that's the timing says, yeah, rip that ball. We were a little off. He and JMO should be a little higher angle, and so there's just these little circumstances that come into play and so for me, I'm not going to tell him anything because I don't feel like this is, oh man, what are you doing? These weren't ill-advised throws. It wasn't our day. And so when it's not your day and you can still win, that's a sign of a good team.
Hell yeah, it is. Hell yeah, it is. So let's pause this for a second here. Dan Campbell, first of all, Jody, appreciate your $20 super chat to Rock Down Cancer Foundation, because that's where it all goes. And can't thank you enough for supporting the channel. I think you're one of the newer subscribers to the channel. Really appreciate you. You've been showing up. And let's get you Gibbs TD real quick.
Goff takes the snap, gives to Gibbs. Gibbs bounces through a hole. There it goes outside 20. Gibbs 15. Gibbs 10.
Gibbs was huge tonight.
Touchdown Detroit Lions. Oh baby, what a run!
Gibbs was huge tonight. So let's talk about these. Let's talk about these interceptions. So during the live stream, during the live play-by-play, I was kind of saying the same thing. Like, look, he had a couple of ill-advised throws, right? Well, the one to Laporta, he spot on, right? Laporta didn't get his head around. The one to JMO, they were off a little bit, just like Dan said. But the circumstances that I think he's kind of pointing to, he didn't really finish on, were Goff getting his arm hit, getting tackled while he's throwing. He was under pressure. Goff was under duress, like more than I've ever seen all season. And that weighs on you, right? You're trying to get the ball out. You're trying to make a good throw. Wasn't his night. And in some, the Hail Mary, you can't count that against him. It's going to count against him, but you can't. When you look at it, from the outside looking in, you look at stats, you're like, holy cow, Goff sucks. But you go watch the game and you realize, yeah, 2.5 of those are probably his. 2.5. And you know what? I could live with that. Especially against a defense that had Goff running around like a chicken, with his missing. So here's what I love about Goff. And this is what you're not going to get from other quarterbacks. He still went in there. He still dropped back. He still fired the freaking ball. And he still found receivers open. He wasn't sweating it. He wasn't gun shy. He wasn't afraid to throw the ball. He went back in there, stepped back in, and made the damn plays. Got his team back to win a ball game. Tell me how many other quarterbacks, which the answer is 0 this season, have thrown 5 interceptions to come back and lead your team on a game-winning drive to win the game. 0. Not even Patrick Mahomes. So there's that. Goff had a shit night. Oh well, chalk it up. You won the game. Move on. Go beat the Jags. Better get rested up. Offensive line needs to play better. They're the reason why Goff had a bad night tonight. Goff did everything that he was supposed to do.
Yeah. Big. Yeah, and look, we knew going into this game, we kind of talked about there's been so much put on our back end, our secondary. We've asked them to do a lot, particularly since Hutch went down. This was the game, though, like we really, we challenged our D-line. This was one where we said, you guys got to win. Mac, you have to go and take this game over to an extent. And really, all those guys. And we felt like we could have success. And I felt like we did that, man. We shut that run game down. We were able to apply pressure, particularly Mac, and it helped us. It helped us. So those guys answered the bell. Yeah, he's just got I don't know. I don't know how significant it will be. I mean, it's not something like, this is not, he's going to be out 4 weeks, whatever. It's just maybe he might miss this week. We'll see. He's got a little sprain in here, kind of the AC joint. So
all right, AC joint banged up on Sam Laporta.
He tried to go back in, and it wasn't quite right. It didn't quite feel right. So we'll get it checked tomorrow. We'll see where it's at, see how significant it is, and just take it day to day.
So if you didn't hear all of that, Sam Laporta's got an AC joint. Something's not quite right in there. It's why he didn't go back in the game. Could be out next week. Doesn't think it's going to be long term. But AC joints, man, they can be super sore, especially if you're playing football. So we'll follow that next week and see what information we can find on Sam Laporta.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, I feel really.
And huge shout out again to Jody Carruthers, man. Or Jody Carruthers, sorry. Just gifted 10 Lions memberships to some new guests to the channel. We got Kneecap Biting Motor City Lions. We know who that is. Curtis Wilson, Xavier Weather, Sir Samuel Seven, Roger Gujardo, Graham, Mr. Morale Tarantino back in the house, got a membership. Zach Holton 99, Bearded Beanie, Team Peterson, Jeffrey Rogers, congratulations, and big thanks to Jody. Just remember, if you guys want to continue your membership next month, just let YouTube know, and would be greatly appreciated. All of your donations and memberships, all that goes to Rockdown Cancer Foundation. Super shout out to you, Jody, for stepping up big time tonight. Really, 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 really appreciate you. Let's get you a Laporta TD since we're not going to see one probably next week.
Goff back looking deep downfield, got a man wide open. It is Sam Laporta. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. 45 yards on the connection, and the Lions are back in front.
All right, let's finish up this Dan Campbell post game.
Really good about our team. They haven't done anything that would surprise me negatively. They're exactly what I thought they would be. The fight they got in them. The ability to reload. Reload one more time on the road. After the win we had in Green Bay, and to face an opponent, a dang good opponent, plays damn good defense and takes care of the ball for the most part. And we knew they were going to be ready to go. It says a lot, And so, like every week, for us, we just got to stay focused on what's right in front of us. And I really believe if we do that, we're always going to have a really good shot. The odds are going to favor us that we can win every week. And so, listen, we're in it now. There's no buys. There's no nothing. I mean, we're in the meat of it. And so just head down, and we just keep plowing forward.
All right, thanks, guys. Locker room's open. We'll have Jared and Carlton in here.
All right, so it sounds like Jared and Carlton Davis are going to be up next. We'll be watching for when they come in. We'll try to get to them too. So, first and foremost, Trace, big shout out to you. Just gifted 5 more Detroit Lions memberships to Graffiti03 and Cheddarman95, Michael T, and Noob Sabit, and Matt K. Welcome to the membership. Appreciate you, Trace, as always. Not only are you a phenomenal moderator, but you do a great job with supporting Rockdown Cancer Foundation and our mission here, which is supporting our Detroit Lions community, and those around us. Let's just get you the Red Wings horn. We haven't heard that one in a minute. There you go. Big time goal. All right, so let's talk some things about Lions PR tonight. What do they got in store for us? We know we got more records. Lions are just pushing through. And here it is. Lions are 8-2 in primetime games under Dan Campbell. Insane. The Lions didn't have any primetime games for a long time, and the ones that we had, we seem to always lose. Well, Dan Campbell has brought this team to 8-2 now. And not only that, this is our 5th straight road victory. This is a new single season, single franchise record. 5th straight road victory. The Lions are also 7 straight wins in a row. This ties the single season franchise record. We are expecting that to be 8-0 next week. Dan Campbell, of course, is 8-1 for the first time since 1954. Your Detroit Lions are starting a season 8-1, and we know that should be 9-0. Definitely should be 9-0. None other than Amon-Ra St. Brown smashed another record tonight. 7th straight road game with a receiving TD. This, if I could read it, man, they made it really small. This ties the NFL's 6th longest streak since the 1970 AFL-NFL merger. Huge big ups to Amon-Ra St. Brown. New franchise record also for Amon-Ra St. Brown. 7 straight games with a receiving TD. Golly, man. Of course, Carlton Davis had 2 interceptions tonight. This is the first 2-pick game of his career. So he set a personal best. And then, of course, Jared Goff. He is the 15th quarterback in NFL history to reach 200 career passing TDs within a player's first 126 career games. That's incredible for Jared Goff. And I would like to know the other stat. I really want to know the other stat about the interceptions. What was it? Someone remind me. It was 1971 or something like that no team has done this since then? Has thrown 5 interceptions and come back to win? Let's see if they've got it in here. Aaron Glenn, through the first 8 games of the season, the Lions have only allowed 6 passing TDs. Unfrickin' believable. This is their lowest since allowing only 5 passing TDs through the first 8 games of the 1986 season. What did I talk about in the pregame today? What have I been talking about the last few weeks about this Lions defense? They've been playing really well. And when you look at the stats for our defensive backs, you're like, man, they're trash. But they're not. They're actually playing really well. It's just, again, the bend but don't break defense. When we have big leads against these teams in the second half, we're just allowing a bunch of yards. But they're still not allowing reception TDs, which is huge. They can get all the garbage stats they want, but they're not going to get in the end zone. That's incredible. Aaron Glenn, I'm sorry, he's all but gone next year. He's gone. He's going to get a head coaching job. But you know what's going to happen for the Lions? We're going to get 2 third-round picks in 2025 and another 2 third-round picks in 2026 when Aaron Glenn gets a head coaching position. So it still helps us. It still helps the Detroit Lions when Aaron Glenn moves on. And you know who's going to step in his place? There's a reason why Terrell Williams is here. Terrell Williams is a big reason why this Lions defense is winning. He was the key to unlock Aaron Glenn. He is taking these second and third string defensive linemen and defensive ends and turning them into first stringers. He is pulling everything out of these guys. And that's why Terrell Williams is here. He will be the Lions' new defensive coordinator when Aaron Glenn gets a head coaching position. So the future is always bright. Not only is Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell looking at the roster and how can they set the roster up for the future, but they're also looking at the roster of their coaches and how can they set that up for the future, because eventually these guys are going to move on. They're not going to stick around in Detroit forever, especially when we win the Super Bowl this year. Let's see. Here's the next one. Jared Goff, among quarterbacks' first 8 games of any season in NFL history, 100 attempt minimum. Lions quarterback Jared Goff has the second highest completion percentage, 74.9%. And that's still after posting a 50% completion percentage tonight. He's the only player with a better mark, or the only player with a better mark was Drew Brees in 2018 with 76.3. Shout out to Steve K. He also just gifted 5 Detroit Lions memberships to Rock Down Detroit Lions. Adrian Ward, Dat Dude 420, Stephen Flake, House Rules, and Pareko. Welcome in to the membership crew. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you, Steve K. Let's get you the epic win from last season.
For the second time since 1957, for the first time since January 5th, 1992, these Detroit Lions are going to win a playoff game.
And thanks, Tarantino, for reminding me that it was since 1970 that a team has trailed by 15 plus points and thrown 5 interceptions to have a comeback win. That is just epic, man. Epic, epic, epic. Detroit Lions PR is still rolling. Running backs David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs have each totaled 625 plus scrimmage yards and 7 rushing TDs this season. The last NFL running back duo to each log these numbers through the first 8 games of a season were the Packers running backs Paul Hornung and Jim Taylor in 1960. That makes us feel a little bit better that not only are we doing something better than what the Packers have done, but the Packers haven't done it since 1960. That makes you feel a little bit better, doesn't it? Here's the next one. Oh, wait, I think that's it. I think that's it. I was actually going back a little bit too far. That was it. A couple of those were from last week. The yardage for Gibbs and Monty was from last week. So let's dive into some more stats here. What do we have? Jack Fox punted 4 times tonight, 188 yards, 47-yard average. He only had 1 inside the 20, and he had a long of 60. Wasn't his best night tonight, but he still had a good night. Of course, Jake Bates, who's going to get a game ball, 2 for 2, 58-yard long tonight, and a 52-game winner. Totaled 8 points, 100% on the night, including 2 extra points. Man, overall, I'm just elated at how the Detroit Lions handled their business tonight.
Being the starting quarterback.
It's absolutely incredible the way that they performed. And let me see if I can get this fast forwarded, and we'll get Jared Goff up on the podium. Here we go. Let's get Jared Goff in here.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick, because someone mentioned something about Z Smith earlier, and I totally forgot. And Better the Hunt, I'll come right back to that question here in just a second. So I forget what someone said about Z Smith, how he's ready to roll or whatever. If you guys didn't notice tonight, he was coaching up that defense tonight. Is it safe for us to think that Z Smith helped that defense tonight, helped them perform the things that he was seeing? And if that's the case, how impactful that's going to be when he's on the field. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but he was consistently in the tape, on the surface, talking to the guys, coaching them up, dapping them up, whatever you want to call it, getting those guys in the right headspace to go back out there and perform. He was like another extension of the coach tonight. I think that Smith is just going to be a game wrecker in this defense. This defense is already doing it without somebody like him on that defense. Imagine what we're going to be able to do as long as he comes in and blends like the chameleon that we hope that he is. And he's not about the eyes, he's about the we's, which we think he is. This defense is going to rise to another level. Absolutely. We spoke about it earlier today in the pregame show where I was talking about Super Bowl winners. And you can go back 15 seasons. And there's only been 3 Super Bowl winners in 15 seasons that have had a better defense than an offense. It was the 2016 Patriots. I think it was the 2015 Broncos. And it might have been the 2013 Seahawks. I think those are the 3 teams that had a better defense than offense. Other than that, it's been largely offensive-driven teams that have been winning Super Bowls over the last couple of decades. And there's a big reason why Brad Holmes elected to go heavy in the paint for offensive players the last few drafts. In his first draft, he drafted quite a few defensive players. He drafted offense, and then defense, and then offense, and then more defense. But he's always grabbed somebody, it seems like, in offense every year. Whether it's offensive line or a playmaker. But offense right now is what's winning. This is an offensive-driven game. Defense will help you. Of course it will. But when you get into the playoffs and you look at all the stats like I did and put together this morning in the pregame show, you see a commonality that the sacks kind of disappear. But the turnovers are what helped. And right now the Lions I think they're still at the top of the league right now as far as turnover margin. Even though Jared Goff just kind of gave 5 away, we pulled 2 more in tonight. And that helps. So I think we're what, plus 9 maybe now for the season? I think we're close to that anyway. Where was your question at? Better the Hunt asked me if I'm worried about this offensive line. You're damn skippy I am. I am absolutely worried about this offensive line. I think that there is no reason in the world why this offensive line is performing this way. Now, tonight we were missing Taylor Decker. And again, in the pregame show, I warned everybody that we're going to find out today just how important Taylor Decker is to this offense. Even though he hasn't had his best games, the last couple of games, he is still a vital piece to this offensive line. Yep. He may miss out on a couple of blocks. He may give up a couple of pressures, but nothing like we saw tonight. Skipper, he got his ass handed to him on just about every play. It wasn't until Ben Johnson finally put in an extra, whether it was the jumbo set or an extra tackle or something, an extra lineman, that Jared Goff was finally finding time. I'm not quite sure why they didn't roll that way from the beginning. We did not need 3 or 4 wide receivers in this game. We just didn't. We could have easily done it with 2 or 3 and a running back the majority of the game. But that's my opinion. They got the W tonight. That's all that matters. The rest is history. The game's over. Nothing else matters anymore but the W. Brandon Hurt said this should really be putting fear in the rest of the NFL. You think? How they're all looking at the Lions right now. I can't wait to hear tomorrow morning on Good Morning Football. I can't wait to hear Stephen A. Smith light up Jared Goff and then turn around and praise him. But you're going to hear a lot tomorrow on every morning show, including this one. What the Lions just did just proved they're not the same old Lions. This is not the same team that we grew up watching the last 40 years. This is different. That's why I wrote what I wrote on Twitter the other night. That's why I say the things that I do often about this team, because you can see it. You can feel it. The energy is palpable on this team. If we don't win the Super Bowl this year, it's going to be a damn letdown. They have everything they need right now, as long as they stay healthy and as long as Ben Johnson can call his better games for the rest of the season. There's no reason why we can't win a Super Bowl this year. John Desage says, yep, Decker is pretty important. He is, man. And I'm not saying that he would have had an incredible game tonight, but I think that he would have had a better game than what we witnessed. And I think that there was another mistake that happened tonight. Penei Sewell is an absolute animal as a left tackle. Why you would leave Jared Goff's blind side wide open like that and not make the switch, I'll never understand. I don't get it. It just seems dangerous to me that you're going to put a guy in that doesn't ever play, other than to run in as an eligible or as a swing tackle in the jumbo set. He never plays. And you took that big of a risk. I'll never understand. We could have lost Jared tonight. He was under so much pressure. Riley O'Brien says, that's why I believe Campbell is coach of the year. He has to be. Aaron Glenn has to be defensive coordinator of the year. Has to be. Hank Fraley has to be offensive, coach of the year. If there's even awards down that low, I don't remember. I mean, everybody on this team should be getting an award right now. And we didn't allow a sack tonight. We didn't. But you know what? Jared Goff ate dirt probably 10 times tonight. I bet you had 10 quarterback hits. He's going to be feeling it tomorrow. All right, let's listen to Jared.
Yeah, I honestly didn't feel like I was playing all that bad, and I was seeing things well. I was throwing it well. Had some unfortunate things there early, but like I've been through a whole lot worse than that. I've been to the bottom, and mentally I've been to the bottom, and some unlucky plays isn't going to throw me off my game. Yeah.
How do you wash those away? Dan said that gotta be explained. He wasn't very upset with, I guess, how any of the plays turned out. How do you wash away those mentally?
Yeah, it's a battle. It's hard. I mean, again, I just said it to Eric, but I didn't feel like I was playing all that bad. I was seeing things well. The tip ball, like, yeah, ultimately I got to take care of the ball, but they were making some good plays, and some things that weren't going our way, and I think ultimately, like, I never lost confidence because I felt like I was doing what I was supposed to do on most of those plays, and our defense really bailed us out. They really did all day, and the guys stuck with me on offense, and I was telling them, hey man, I'm good, just hang in there, and I'm good. I'm gonna have this thing figured out, and they stuck with me. Yeah, pretty dang good.
The second half, I mean, you guys needed every one of those stops to come back and win too. Seems like all year long we kind of stepped up when they needed.
Yeah.
Just how big was tonight for that?
Yeah, it was awesome. It really was, and again, to win a game where your offense has 5 turnovers doesn't happen very often, and that's a credit to them, and a credit to our whole team's resiliency, and I think every team gets punched in the mouth. Like every at some point, every team does, and the good ones respond. And we're one of those teams, and we respond.
What's your reaction to Jake's case?
A couple things that he said there. I mean, absolutely spot on. So you can tell that Jared is he's obviously not happy with himself tonight. You can tell. I mean, you read him like a book. He's not happy, and quite honestly, he shouldn't be. Yeah, he made some mistakes. He had a bad game. But like he said, he didn't feel like he was playing bad. Some unlucky bounces, right? Some unlucky circumstances, whatever the case may be. He kept playing. He never got down on himself. That is why I trust in Jared Goff. Most quarterbacks, especially young quarterbacks, your CJ Strouds, right? Your Caleb Williams and others, your young guys. You know, guys that have been in the league 2-3 years at most and younger, they can't hang with that kind of pressure. They have no idea how to deal with it. Jared has been up at the top and all the way down at the bottom and everywhere in between. And tonight, his team backed him up. They didn't lose faith. And it shows they didn't lose faith because they came back to win the game. The defense didn't lose faith. You know, on some teams, when your quarterback is having a bad night or the offense is having a bad night, the whole team crumbles. And they just fall apart. You didn't see that from this team tonight. What you saw is a defense that said, all right, damn it, we've got to go back in there and get the ball back. And then they go in and get the ball back. All right, we've got to go in and get a stop. And they go in and get a stop. That is a huge testament to how Dan has infected this team with such a positive culture and identity to allow this team to fight back every single chance they get. They're not going to sulk and wallow in, you know, the failures of the night. No, they're going to figure out a way to go in and try to win. And if they don't end up winning, they at least know that they gave it everything that they had. And to point out the comment on James Houston. So James Houston, there's a lot of people that have been writing him off. And I, for one, have felt that he just needed time. He's barely played. He just needed some time. He needed opportunity to show up. And I can't wait to see what his stats are tomorrow. But I think he definitely had a much better game than a lot of us think that he had. Just his stats tonight, though. I mean, he only had the one tackle. He had one sack. He had one TFL, which was probably the sack, and one quarterback hit. But I can't wait to see what his pressures were for the night. James was all over the field tonight. He was making plays. Everybody was making plays. Mekhi Wingo was making plays. Levi didn't have his best game. Al Quadin was making plays early, and then he kind of disappeared. Or Al Qudin Muhammad was making plays, and he kind of disappeared. I don't even know who Ezekiel Turner is. No clue who this guy is. Didn't even know that we brought him in. Somehow I missed that. He got a tackle tonight. No clue who he is. Let's see here. Jody Crither says, yes, thank you, Will, for soldiering through the illness to bring us important game to us. PS, I'm a little concerned since J-Rod mentioned missing Chef. Did something bad? No, Chef just doesn't have time. Chef didn't have any more time. His job is too much. He might be doing something else, but he can't manage the channel. He's just too busy. So we've got actually a different idea for that channel. So it's going to be bouncing back here pretty quickly. We'll finish up with Jared Goff here.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah. Yeah. He's kicking it as well as anyone in the league right now. And we see him in practice make these long ones all the time, so we're pretty aware of what his range is. And, both those looked good from a lot further than where they were kicked from. And got a lot of confidence in him. But it's really cool for a guy that's that young, that with that amount of experience, to walk out there cold-blooded twice now on the road. Knocked them both down pretty good.
Wait, I just missed what he said. What was he talking about?
Pretty good. Amount of experience to walk out there further than where they were kicked from. We see him in practice make these long ones all the time, so we're pretty aware of what his range is. And both those looked good from a lot further than where they were kicked from. And got a lot of confidence in him. But it's really cool for a guy that's that young, that with that amount of experience, to walk out there cold-blooded twice now on the road. Knocked them both down pretty good.
Hell yeah, it is, man. Jake Bates. Boom, boom, Bates.
Holy smokes. You know, that was a roller coaster of a game, and like I said, like a mental battle for me to know that I'm not crazy. Like I knew what I was doing, and I knew what I was seeing, and yeah, sure, that maybe one or two of them, you know, I'd like to have back, but for the most part, you know, I was confident what I was seeing and where I was throwing it. Yeah, a ton. I think last year to the Chicago game, like at home, when you can dig in deep in those adverse situations and come out on top, it just prepares you for the next adverse situation. You know, it's never over till it's over. We were in a hole there, big hole, and they were playing well. They were humming on defense. I kept giving them the ball over and over, and we fought. We really did.
How much confidence do you guys have right now? I mean, this was a tough stretch, 4 or 5
Yeah.
on the road against some really good teams in there too. To come away undefeated through that stretch,
Yeah.
just have to be pretty confident right now.
Really, yeah, no doubt. I think that was, you know, we got a lot of games left certainly, but this was a meaty part of our schedule with not only on the road but the quality of teams we were playing and tough atmospheres. You know, we had some guys injured. It was a big win for us tonight to go to 8-1 and stay on this winning streak we're on. Yep. Yes. Yeah, they played. I think they played some version of cover 2, and he was open. Gave it to him.
Dan talked about you guys going through this scenario Thursday at practice. I'm just curious, was it the same call the same Thursday that set up a late field goal in practice?
Gosh, I remember the field goal. Gosh, what was the play? I don't know if it was that play, but I do remember the field goal. It was a very similar situation. Yeah. So, and we do it all the time. I don't know if, you know, if that one was exact, but it was very similar. And every week he kind of puts some new scenarios in, and it really prepares us for them. And we walk through them, we talk through them. You know, we talk through what are the possibilities, what could we do, what could we not do, and so yeah, we're always kind of prepared for those.
Dan Campbell is really doing things at such a high level.
We've been tested. I think Dan's done a great job of putting us in these tough situations in practice. And, you know, I think all the way back through training camp, so much situational work and creating pressure environments in reality it's practice, but creating a pressure environment where guys are asked to kind of rise above and see what they're made of. And he does it all the time. He does it every week, and it's paid off. A little bit, yeah. Yeah. Thank you. They were all so supportive. No, we were good, and I spoke on it earlier, but like there was a couple of unfortunate ones, and then like I never felt like I was not seeing things well. That's when you kind of have to recalibrate a little bit. I felt like I was seeing things great, and they were making good plays, and there were some unfortunate situations, and yeah, would I like them back? Sure, but you know, I had to swallow it a little bit. That all right, it happened, but you know, I'm seeing things good, and don't try to abandon what I know I can do. That makes sense. Cool. Thank you.
Carlton Davis.
All right, so Carlton's already probably spoke. Here's what I'm going to do though. Let me jump back up. All right, there we go. So here's what I'm taking away from this. Dan Campbell, he's operating at such a high level. And you just heard it from the leader of the team, right? The Dan Campbell is the reason why these guys are in these situations and they're able to execute at such a high level. Because during training camp, OTAs, mini camps, weekly practices, you name it, that they're doing situational work. I want to know how many coaches out there are really putting these teams through this much, or based on what Jared's saying, situational work and having them ready to go. I'm sure they all do it to some degree, but how much more is Dan doing it? Or is he not? I would love to know. But just from watching what this team has been and where it's going to and everything in between and how they're able to win games in tough situations and how the team doesn't seem scared one bit that there's only 2 minutes on the clock and they've got to drive the field. They could be down by a touchdown and there's 4 minutes left. And the other team is absolutely kicking your ass. And they're not scared. They just do what they do. That's all the work that they're putting in. Each and every week, and especially throughout the situations that Dan's putting them in to make sure that they're battle tested. And the crazy thing is they're battle tested before they even have to hit the battle. That's the mark of a great coach. Riley O'Brien, Jared Goff's mental strength is seriously so impressive. It is. He's cool as a cucumber, man. The dude just doesn't get rattled. And even when he's throwing the picks and, they pan to him on the field, yeah, he's shaking his head. He's not happy about it. He doesn't take for 1 minute to get down on himself. And you heard what he was talking about. They were asking him, what are the coaches saying to you? During this, are they saying anything to you? And he's like, no, man, we're good. We're fine. If I wasn't seeing it the right way, then yeah, we've got a problem. But there's no reason to abandon what I know I can do when I feel like I'm seeing it right. It's just unfortunate circumstance. It happens. You don't go from throwing 4 interceptions in 8 games over 9 weeks to throwing 5 in 1 game without some serious crap going on. That just doesn't happen. That's just not Jared Goff. Like, he was having an epic season, and then all of a sudden now you've got all of these interceptions just out of the blue. It's not just Jared Goff. There's a lot more going on in this game to look at beyond Jared Goff. Brandon Hurt, would you say that any player could become a phenom on this team? I guess you'd have to define phenom, but I would say this. I think that any player that has the fortitude, the mental toughness, and the will to succeed and fail to succeed, that has more ears than a mouth and willing to put the hard work in, they can be whatever they want on this team. But it takes all of that and more to be able to do it. What you notice about this team that I feel is so much different from other teams, and there's some other players out there that are the same way on other teams. These guys are so unselfish. And that's the difference. They don't care about personal stats. And you know that because we've heard Dan Campbell give away game balls because he didn't know any stats. He had no idea that Jared Goff had a perfect game or whatever it was that one night. And if I find that funny that nobody really knew, and these guys don't. They just don't know. Because they're not thinking, okay, I just ran it for 5, and all right, I just ran it for another 10, that's 15. Oh, I just chunked one for 20. That's 35. All right, just got 65 more yards to go. And, they're not thinking, okay, I'm averaging 5 yards. I just need the ball, 13 more times and I'll get there. They're not thinking that way. They don't have time to think that way, to believe it or not. They're just thinking, how can I go in to make a play? When my number's called, what do I need to do? Where do I need to be? That's what they're thinking. What's my job? I need to go execute. They're not thinking, man, I need the ball. I need 10 more yards to get my bonus. Nah. What do we got to do to win? We need to win. That's first. Who do I got to go hit? Who do I got to go block for? That's what separates the good teams from the great teams. That's what separates the teams that lose tonight from the teams that come back to win. We got a good team, y'all. We really do. Better the Hunt says that's an on-target call. There we go. Riley O'Brien, no better illustration of that than Gibbs Montgomery duo. That is a credit to Brad Holmes being very deliberate about who he rosters. Spot on, Will. Will doesn't miss. Appreciate it, Riley. Appreciate your support, buddy. Tarantino, I only saw one pass that was what I would have considered a wrong decision, which was the deep shot to J-Mo. Everything else was unfortunate. You know, on the deep shot, yeah, I think Goff threw the ball late. It wasn't so much that he can't get the ball down. I think he threw the ball late. I think he saw him late, but I'll defer that until we get a chance to watch the tape, which we'll try to do on Tuesday night this week. I know we got a couple of things coming up this week at night with some shows and some guests and that are coming up. I think Thursday night, but I'll let you guys know tomorrow once I get everything figured out. No self-centered showboats on this team, says Better the Hunt, and that's exactly right. This team is all about the team. The team. I know you Michigan fans have heard that a lot. J-Mo definitely had a step. He did, and that was probably the shortest step I've ever seen J-Mo have. I think he had 3 or 4 moves on that route. And I think that's 2 moves too many. Like, if you're trying to go deep, man, just make 1 move and go. He made 2, 3, or 4 moves after the first move that slowed him down. And I think that's how that corner was able to creep up on him and kind of stick with him. I mean, he was definitely in on J-Mo's hip, and that was almost an interception. Let's see if I can find Carl. I want to listen to Carlton. And then we'll get out of here.
Podium, let's hear from him.
Finally, man. It was a long time coming. But, we made the plays we were supposed to make to stay in the game and came up with a big play.
Just talk about that effort collectively from 11 guys the second half. I think it was 4 punts, 2 picks, and
Yeah.
missed field goal in the second half.
Yeah, halftime AG came up to us, and he had a heartfelt message for us to just play our game and to go out there and just put it all on the line because at that point, we losing the game and there's nothing else to do but to try to win it. You're already losing, give it all you got. And that's what we did. 11 guys went out there and did their jobs.
Results of those drives aside, how good does it feel for you to walk away tonight and say you got 2 picks?
Feels fucking good.
Oh,
Great.
Oh, no.
Because, it was still a close game. And, whether you win or lose that game kind of, depends on how you feel after the game. Like, if we lose, it's like, I got 2 picks, but fuck it. We lost.
And he did it again.
You win, it's like, let's go. It's a little bit more exciting. So I'm happy we got the dub, and I'm happy we all came together as a team and got the win.
Oh, Carlton, you're going to get a fine.
4 or 5 on the road. 2 really good teams, Green Bay, Houston.
Yeah.
How much confidence do you guys have going through this?
You know what? That's a credit
Honestly,
to
it's letting
that's a credit to the Lions PR or whoever's doing the media afterwards. Y'all got to be on a delay. You have to be on a delay. Oh, that's not good. Poor Carlton.
us know a lot about ourselves as a team. Being able to go on the road against tough opponents, like the best opponents, in my opinion, in the league right now, and getting a dub out at their home stadium is huge for us. It's a huge confidence boost. But, nevertheless, we still got to go back to work and continue this streak and continue to get better every day. Honestly, I'm never really paying too much attention to the crowd. I'm not like, going with the flow of it. I'm trying to, just focus on my job. And honestly, I don't even hear them, if I'm being honest with you. But it was loud when we first got out there. It was a good crowd. When they were up, they were loud. And then second half, make some plays, and it's kind of going down. But like I said, I'm not paying too much attention to it. I'm just trying to get a dub.
You said you learned something about yourself in games like this. 5 turnovers by the offense.
Yeah.
You cut them out in the second half, over the 23 points.
Yeah.
What did you learn about that defense today?
Shit, grit. That's it. I don't got nothing else to say. Grit. You look up the meaning of that word, and it'll tell you everything else. Like, just grit, bro. Like, that's all we made of. Just grit.
Carlton.
Get a little butterflies when you know that the whole country's watching this game?
No, not really. We kind of been here before, especially me. This is my 7th year in the league, so I done played at the highest of the levels. Like, it can't go no higher than that. So honestly, I just play my game. You know, it's a good time to, you know, have a good performance. But at the same time, man, we might have another big game next week or in 2 weeks. So, you know, just keep it copacetic.
What were your thoughts when Jake trots on the field for that 52 yards?
I was like holding my breath. I was just like, please, 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 because they are a good team. You don't want to give them too many chances to get back in the game. And he iced the game for us, man. He did his job, and I'm so happy for him.
You may have described the first pick already. Alex said it was the play of the game. You guys might not win that without that one.
Yeah.
Progressing that second half. Can you just walk me through that and how important you think that was to sort of giving everyone the confidence that you have?
Man, honestly, like going into halftime, like I said, we had a prep talk. But for me personally, last year I played in this stadium when I was with the Bucks, and I had a terrible game, and it was probably one of the worst games I've ever had in my life here. So just coming back here 1 year later, like I think it was like the same time frame last year, I gave up a winning touchdown, and that was just heavy on my heart. I wanted to get payback, you know, and honestly, it's never personal for me, but I did feel that on my heart. And when we was losing, I just told myself, like, bro, we got to make a play. Like, I'm not going out sad to these guys twice. They're a great team, well-coached guys, but at the same time, we are too. And, like, the emotional state just kind of took over, and I was like, I'm making the play regardless, man. I couldn't leave the stadium twice, 2 years in a row, you know, not being able to say I'm a winner and not being able to overcome this team. And like I say, they're a good team, but at the same time, like, the competitor in me just needed it. You know, I needed to show them, because it's not about, you know, stats or whatever. Honestly, for me, at the end of the day, it's about respect.
Please re-sign this guy.
Every team who I play against, and last year I didn't do that. Last year, you know, they could go into this season, or they may have gone into this game thinking, well, you know, we could get them again. And they had a little bit of success earlier, but, you know, like I said, for me personally, I had a personal vendetta just to show them, just to get my respect back. You know, that's what it's all about for me. So going into coming out of halftime, I had to do something. I was like, I'm about to just let them know, you know. So. I definitely did, but you know what? They were so if you watch film, I jump outs all the time. Like, if you watch the film, like, I'm in good position on every out, and I know this team, they like to, like, run out, and then, you know, do a double move. So when they ran the 2 outs, I didn't play it too hard, and they was throwing it, they was completing it. And I know coming out of halftime that they would want to go back to that, because they're a team who, you know, loves to repeat successful plays. So when they went back to it, or they gave me the set that I was looking for and we was in the right call, I knew I would jump it. I knew I would jump because they had success earlier, and they probably.
Oh yeah,
Big guy Lomas Brown is gonna.
They ended them. That's hilarious. They ended them. Oh, that is hilarious. They took him off. He was saying too much. Oh,
Carlton
that's
Davis.
just great. Carlton, man, please re-up the contract. Please re-up the contract, Brad Holmes. We need to keep him around. You know, Carlton, he's exactly who this team is. You know, he didn't want to say that he had a personal vendetta, but at the same time, he had a personal vendetta. Like, he didn't want to come back to this stadium and not leave a winner. And he wanted to make sure he got his respect back, like he said. In making those plays, he got his respect back. Wow. I can't believe they just cut him off. They just said, nope, you're done. He's saying too much. Whoever said it, he was on one. He was on one. He was kind of digging. He was turning that you know, that knife just a little bit deeper. But here's the funny thing. I dug up some information last spring. And the one thing that I noticed about Brad Holmes is the guys that he was bringing in, and you guys can go and fact check me on this. The guys that he brought in this season played all the teams that we were going to play this season last season. And Carlton just mentioned that. Played the Texans last year. If you don't think that Brad Holmes plays at a different level, think about that for a moment. You just brought in guys that have experience, not only with the NFC North. If you look at all of their schedules for all the free agents that we brought in prior to the draft, if you look at all of their schedules, they either played all of the NFC North teams last year or the NFC North teams and the teams we are about to face on the schedule this year. Go look at that. What do you think that does for a team? You talk about continuity on your own team, right? And how can you gel as a team? And how can you, get better as a team? Well, wouldn't it make it a little bit easier if you had guys on the team that had experience in the teams that you're going up against? And not just over the last couple years, but the last season, which is the most closely related to the team that you're going to face this year? I really want to think, or let me say this again. I want to believe that that's what Brad Holmes was doing, because that's what I would do. And I'm not saying Brad would do what I would do or vice versa, but that's what I would do. I would want to look at the guys that I'm bringing in and say, look, not only is he a great player, not only does he fit what we need, but he has experience with the teams that we're about to go against. So when we get into game prep, when we get into prepping for these teams, that's an individual that I can go to and say, what did you see last year? Based on the tape that you're seeing now, what did you see that's similar? What did you do that was successful? Give me some nuggets. Spill the beans here. Tell me everything you know. Makes sense, doesn't it? Makes sense. That's right. It's like having inside info. It is. It absolutely is. We have a winning team, says Jody, even when and if we lose. Every team is bound to lose. Every team is bound to have a bad game, and the Lions completely pooped the bed tonight. And they found a way to win. Not many teams can do that. Matter of fact, hardly any teams have ever done it, based on the stat that we read earlier. But I can't get it out of my head that this team is so much different. And I don't know if I keep saying that because we haven't experienced this before, or at least in a very, very long time, or is it because it really is? I mean, do other teams really do the things that we're doing? I know we don't spend the time to watch other teams and to watch all of their post games and all their press conferences. And then maybe at some point I will, just to learn more about the teams. But I would have to say that what Brad Holmes is doing is so different. It is such a higher level thinking. So yeah, Laporta day to day. Saw that, man. He's like Dan Campbell said, he's gonna miss next week. All right. Better the Hunt. You're gonna be here next week. I'm gonna try to make it happen. And let's just hope I'm fully better by then. Otherwise, I'm kind of stuck. But man, what a great win, guys. Epic win tonight. Again, I can't thank you guys enough, ladies, gentlemen, for all of your support of the channel. If you haven't subscribed, please smash the subscribe button, like it on the way out, like the stream. We're at 64 likes. We had about 130 people in here tonight. Let's try to get it up. If you're still in, try to get it up there before we leave. Subscribe to the channel and stick with us, man. We're getting a lot of things right here. We're having a lot of fun, and we are changing. We're changing the culture, the tone, and we're here to help others. So not many other channels in this space do what we do. Matter of fact, none of them do. So we'll see you guys in the next one tomorrow morning. Rise and Grind morning show at 8 o'clock. Darius gets his start next week, just like Jody said. Can't wait to see Z. I can't wait either. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Again, thanks again for all your support of the channel tonight. Go Lions, go One Pride. You guys have a great one. Take care.
Every day, thousands of people are discovering Uper Lights, Michigan's newest, funnest rock to go find on the shores of the Great Lakes. Don't go out with just any light. Try the Convoy C8 from uperlights.com. It's guaranteed for life, and you'll find all the ones everyone else misses. Quality UV lights that are perfect for Uper Lights with prices starting as low as $20. Please make sure to visit uperlights.com for all your UV flashlight needs with the best guarantees on the market. Just what you wanted and not what you didn't. The best quality, the best guarantees, and the best UV flashlights from uperlights.com.